What's up, and welcome to the single player experience. As always, I'm your host, Sebastion Malden, and today we're doing an indie game spotlight with one of the best indie games to come out recently, The Night Witch. Instead of me just talking about the game and why I really enjoy it, though, I thought it'd up the ante a little bit. So, my guest today is none other than the director and creator of The Night Witch, Enrique Corts. In this episode, Enrique and I are going to talk about the development process about the game, why you should play the Night Witch, and we're just going to talk about all the ins and outs of what it was like to create the game. If you want to hear more about the Night Witch and why you should play it, you should definitely check out this episode. We got all this and more coming right at you right after the intro. DJ, start the intro, man. This is the Single Player Experience, the podcast that helps single player gamers manage their video game backlog. I'm your host, Sebastion Malden, and my main quest is to help you manage your ever-growing video game backlog by letting you know which single-player games are worth your time and money so that you can have the best single-player experience. Now, without further ado, let's start the show. DJ, cut the beat. Hey everyone, like I said in the intro, we have a very special guest joining us today. He is the artist and lead creator of one of the most dope games of 2022, The Night Witch. He is the founder of the studio's super awesome hyper-dimensional mega team. Yes, he is insanely awesome. He's an incredible artist, and he's just an extremely dope dude. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is the one, the only, Enrique Corts. Enrique, how you doing today?
Hello, everyone. Hi there. Thanks for inviting me, man. It's such a honor to be here and talking with you today.
No, the honor is all mine. So, Enrique, for the people who may not know you, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, yeah. My name is Enrique Corts. I'm 47 years old. I've been making games for, I don't know, 20 years already, more or less. And yeah, I pretty much I do art. Is what I do. I've been doing lots of things in games, relating to art, like concept art. I've been a concept artist. I've been a texture artist. I've been an animator. I've been, a key art illustrator. I've done pretty much everything that is to be made in games related to art, I think. And yeah, still having fun, still going strong. I hope, with it, and because I'm one of the luckiest persons in the world. That I can work in. My job is what I love to do. As a hobby. So yeah, that's me. That's me. Thanks.
Man, so glad to have you on the show, Enrique. Man, you are absolutely killing it. And when you said yes to coming on the show, I legitimately fist pumped. It is, you're such a dope talent, and your art, and especially like the art in the game we're going to be talking about in a little bit, is absolutely amazing. I was blown away when I was playing this game. So, Enrique, for the people like you've been in game development for a very long time. What got you started in this field?
Well, at the time, I remember being in, uh, once upon a time, I was, it was year 2000, and I just came out of school. I studied graphic design, to be honest, nothing related to illustration at all. I was into making logos and brochures and stuff like that for,
Mhm.
I don't know, for advertising agencies and things like that, and companies like those. So yeah, I started working on one of those companies, and I discovered that that job was too stressful for me. It was like too much, It was a lot of work all the time. It was 8 hours a day, being super stressed, and I didn't like what I was doing. So one friend of mine that studied with me at the college,
Mhm.
he told me he got a job making pixel art for, at the time, the Game Boy Advance.
Oh,
It's been a
okay.
while.
Mhm.
It's been a while. I don't know. I feel so old, man, because I done games for consoles that are considered retro already.
Mhm.
Like, oh my god, I'm old, man. So yeah. This guy, this friend of mine, just I don't know. Discovered for me that there was like a huge wall out there where people were looking for artists, and and I've been drawing all my life. So, but the problem was in Spain, you couldn't get a job just being able to draw or being an illustrator. It was very few people who could live out of that. So for me, that's why I studied graphic design, because it was more like a proper job. If you know what
Mhm.
I mean? For my parents just to not complain and stuff like that. So, so yeah, but as a hobby, I was drawing all the time. I wanted to be a comic artist for Marvel and DC and stuff. Later on in my life, I got the chance to be a comic artist for 1 year,
Hmm.
and I didn't like that either. So I stuck with games, and that's fine. But at the time, yeah, I when my friend got this job making games, I thought, okay, let's send out some CVs, out there and see what happened. And I sent my CV out to some companies in England, like for instance, Team 17, the guys
Hmm.
making Once 3D, Once games and stuff like that. And funnily enough, they've been the publisher for Nightwitch also, But so it's been like a circle has been completed in some way. But yeah, the very first job in the industry, I got it on Team 17, just doing Once 3D at the time. And later on, I worked with, in Sony making iToy games. I don't know if you remember these games for PlayStation 2 with the little camera on the
Yeah, I
TV
remember.
and you
Uh-huh.
were moving around. Yeah, I made iToy 2 and 3. Also some boss games for PlayStation 2, the ones that with quiz, you had to
Hmm.
press the button. And later I worked on Plants vs. Zombies too, the original one for PopCap. I've been around, for 10 years, basically. But yeah, I came into the industry just because I was fed up with my job, my design job in Spain. I wanted to get out pretty much. And yeah, since then it's been history. Yeah.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. So Enrique, for all my guests, I like to ask them probably one of the hardest questions they ever get asked in video games. And what are your top 5 games of all time?
That's a good question, man. Probably if you ask me this in a couple of days, I will tell you a different list because, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, at least my top two, they don't move in time at
Okay.
all. For me, top two are probably the number one spot will be for the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, for
Oh,
Super
okay.
NES. Yeah, that's the one. That's one game I play pretty much every year. It's so awesome. It's fantastic. And number two is for Super Nintendo, and I will say Super Mario World. That was another game, that takes the test of time pretty much flawlessly. You can play it today and have a lot of fun with it, anyways. It
Hmm.
hasn't passed the time at all for it. And I don't know, I will say maybe Counter Strike because that's
Okay.
probably the one game I spent the biggest amount of time playing it in my life. It's like
Hmm.
too much. So it must be good, right? It must be good. There has something. It probably has something good in there,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
for sure, right? I don't know. Maybe also Ico from Itoueda on PlayStation 2, the one who
Okay.
made Shadow of the Colossus. So the first one,
Hmm.
Ico, for me, that was, oh man, that was life changing. That was fantastic. It was great experience overall.
Really
And
enjoy
the
Shadow
last
of
one,
Colossus. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, I love Shadow of the Colossus too. But but
Hmm.
but Ico, the first one made by Fumito Ueda was, oh my god, that was life changing. That was, the graphics, the atmosphere, the little story going on. That was fantastic. The puzzles, everything was clicking so well for me that it was one standout game for me for sure. And the last one, oh man, for the last one, maybe I have to say something. I had to pick some indie games maybe.
Okay.
So let's go for in this. Probably, I will say, the games that played, Play Dead, the studio who made Limbo
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
Inside. Yeah, oh my God, Limbo was also life changing for me. That my head exploded at the
Hmm.
time when I played Limbo. That was so good, man. Oh my God, that was incredible. And probably, I mean, Inside is also as good or even better. But
Hmm.
for me, the experience I got playing Limbo first, that was so mind blowing. That yeah, I will say that one for sure. Yeah, that's it. That's my top five today.
That's a good top 5. I really enjoyed Limbo as well. I mean that studios, I think it was Playdead. Yeah, Playdead Studios absolutely
Yeah.
killed it. And the way they design a world and the way they use like shadows and everything like that to just illustrate everything that's going on is absolutely amazing. Like Limbo is spectacular. I loved Inside as well, but like Limbo always has a special place in my heart. The puzzles in there are amazing, absolutely amazing.
Sure, absolutely, yeah, yeah. No, Limbo, it has so big influence on me that I wanted to make a kind of a Limbo game, and we did with our game Rise and Shine, the one we made before the Night Witch.
Hmm.
I wanted to make a Limbo game with guns, So that's where the idea came from, just having like a run and gun game with puzzles and
Hmm.
having like a very unique puzzles that are not repeating every time as you advance in the game, but they are unique and yeah, that's why it took us like 3 years plus to make that game. Same as Play Dead Studios take to make one of these the games. It takes a while to make something unique. It's just yeah. I learned that it's so difficult to make something like that for sure, the hard way.
It
But yeah,
really is. It really is. So, my last like icebreaker question before we get to the topic of the show, which is the Night Witch. Let me ask you, if Kirby absorbed you, you know Kirby from like the Kirby games, the Super Smash Brothers. If Kirby
yeah.
absorbed you, what kind of powers would he get?
Such a good question, man. I love that one. Right, yeah. I love to say that he will get the powers of drawing really well, but I don't consider myself a great artist at all. So I'm gonna say like he will get the power of being like how you say like having lots of endurance.
Okay.
I'm gonna explain myself. Not endurance about running around and doing a marathon or anything
Hmm.
like that, but endurance in life, I will say. And I tell you, I tell you this because being an indie developer is not always easy,
Hmm.
and sometimes most often than not, you are not getting huge hits, huge successes in with all the games you release. We've been super lucky, and every game we've made in the past have been profitable, both for us and our publishers. But still, we haven't got that big hit, that huge game that puts your game in the map,
Hmm.
and and that's for me that's kind of is difficult because we have to struggle every time we start a new game. No money, people leave from the team because there's no money, there is no assurance for
Hmm.
anyone, there's no stability, and it's so hard for me, to see people leave the team every time we release a new game because it's not a big hit. It's not, the money takes a while to come in. And I'm sure that problem is, every indie developer you interview probably will not tell you that. It's so difficult being an indie nowadays because there's, lots of games being made all the time. Quality, but, the quality bar is getting higher and higher.
Yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, so, it takes a lot to actually finish a game, release it, seeing that, it hasn't been a huge success and start charging your batteries again to start a new thing completely from scratch.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's probably the power that Kiwi will get for me, I'll say. maybe
Okay.
maybe maybe I went too deep here. I don't know, but yeah, but
No,
that's
no, I like it.
being
The
honest, man.
endurance,
Yeah,
man. Endurance is
yeah,
a good one. Like, especially like that trait of like to persevere through things is a really good trait to
yes,
have. So
yeah.
I really
Perseveration
like
maybe
that.
is the word. Yeah, maybe it's the more correct word for to say. Yeah, maybe perseveration. Yeah, no, not. Yeah, yeah. But you know what I mean, right? So,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I like that. I like that. So let's get to the topic of the show. Let's talk about the Night Witch. This is a game I told you, before we started the actual recording the episode. Really enjoyed this game. It spoke to me. I loved a lot of things, and we'll get to a lot of the things I like about it throughout the questions here. But before we talk about the game, I gotta ask you, like, there's one thing that's on my mind right now. How did you come up with the name for the studio? Super awesome hyper dimensional mega team.
yeah, we get that a lot. Yeah, as a funny thing, the Spanish president,
Hmm.
Pedro Sanchez, he came one day to Valencia, to where we reside, and to one of these huge events with Spanish companies and all. And this time was with technological companies. And the man, he said he named us in the speech he gave to the public there, to the press. He mentioned us, and he said the whole complete name with no errors whatsoever. I was like, oh my god, that's impressive. He probably was studying the name, practicing the name of our studio for a while before, doing the speech. Oh my god, I was surprised about that. But yeah, about the game, about the name, where it came from. just to stand out pretty much. It was like, yeah, it was a conversation, like with everyone involved. And we were, talking about crazy things about naming our studio. And it was like, yeah, why don't we, get called like this? So everybody will remember who we are, even if they don't remember the name properly. That's something irrelevant. As soon as they remember us because the funny name, that's fine. So yeah, it was just because of that. Pretty much.
I like it. I like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we gotta like remind people who we are, and y'all are super awesome, hyper dimensional mega team. So I like that. I like that.
Yeah, sometimes when we sign contracts, our name doesn't fit in the paper. So it's like,
Oh, I
okay.
bet.
Yeah. It's like, oh, why? Sometimes we think, why do we name ourselves like this? It could have been easier, but yeah, that's us for you. Yeah, just crazy.
I like that. I like it. It shows personality. So let's get to the actual topic of the show. For the people who haven't heard about this game, can you describe what kind of game is the Night Witch?
Sure, yeah, it's mainly like a twin stick shooter
Hmm.
with story driven. Because story is very important in the game, and we put in there like some elements of Metroidvania games and deck building elements in the game too. So it sounds like a big mix, a strange stew. Aware of that. There's lots of things going on in the game, but I think we managed to actually make it work together really well. I think inside a twin stick shooter, uh, at first you could think, oh my god, lots of things in that game, and but I think it works together very well. Just give it a try. There is a demo on Steam, so you'll see by yourself. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, good graphics, I think. Nice effects and good story. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like I was, like like you said, you mixed in a whole lot of elements because this game has like some fantasy elements, it has some steampunk elements, it has some sci-fi elements. You add in that it is almost like a bullet hell twin stick shooter, and you're also floating around while you're actually shooting things. So it has a lot of things going on, and it's a card deck builder. I'm like, you have a lot of mechanics in the game, and they work really well together. They blend in together. So I gotta ask you though, this game is a bullet hell shooter with those fantasy and steampunk elements. Well, how'd you come up with the inspiration behind this game? Because there's so much going on. Like, what inspired you to create this game?
Mhm. Well, at first it was like it was going to be like just a simple shoot 'em up, like a
Hmm.
side scrolling, maybe a little bit of dungeon exploring. Because at first, instead of having like a little witch flying around, we had like a spaceship, kind of a spaceship with medieval elements. It was a very strange one, and yeah, you explore the dungeons with the spaceship, which was quite cool in my book, and you were killing enemies while you were exploring the dungeons, but. At some point in the game, we thought, okay, let's change this little spaceship for a actual witch that a girl that flies around. That would be much more engaging for players and visually more attractive for everyone. And that's what we did. And then we introduced the deck building elements. And then instead of just being like a side-scrolling game, we introduced the room concepts. Like you're like a inside a Metroidvania game, and you have to explore a big map, and which that you can actually do backtracking later in the game and later gain the story. And yeah, it was, but the inspiration was just making like a shoot them up, like a side scroller, shoot them up with even a spaceship. It was super retro, super classic, nothing innovative about that. But all little innovations came later in the game. Yeah, step by
Man,
step.
it's really cool how the game evolved during the creative process because like going from a spaceship to going to like a spaceship, which could have been a fun concept, but like you changed it to a witch, Rain specifically, who is this very in-depth character with some like high emotions, with like really good character development for where she goes in the story. Like I commend you on that because like I think that change absolutely worked for where you wanted to go in this game. So
Sure. Yeah, I think but one of the biggest inspirations for the game, why we had at first the little spaceship and then became the little witch is because I don't know if you know the story about this the night witch, the real night
mhm.
witches, but not night witches with a K in night, but without a K. The witches from the night. You know
Yeah.
the story about them? they know the little, they well, they're not little. They were like a woman only pilots, Russian pilots from the Second World War. You know the story about that?
No, I don't know.
So yeah, that's where the inspiration comes from. There was this, as I told you, they were women pilots from Russian army, and they were fighting the Nazis, and the World War and Second World War, sorry. And but because they were women, Russian army just gave them, the worst of the wars in all the planes they had, and the worst of the wars in all the weapons they had, because yeah, they are women, they don't know how to pilot, and yeah, they're gonna be like a cannon fodder,
Hmm.
just drop them in the battlefield and let Germans kill them, just like that. But these women were super clever, were super smart. And what they did was attacking by night. And because they were given like the wars of the all planes the Russian army had, they had these biplanes from the First World War, like super old ones.
Hmm.
So what they did was they attacked the Germans at night and they disconnected their motors of the planes so nobody could hear them come. And then they were dropping the bombs by hand, just like super low altitude. So Germans didn't know what hit them anywhere, from any time. And that's why they call them the night witches, the witches from the night, because they're coming at night, they were dropping bombs, nobody will be expecting them. And they had, the lowest number of killing combat
Hmm.
pilots in the whole army, Russian army, and they were condecorated at the end of the war, and they were a super appreciated pilot squadron from Russian army, So that was a story super inspiring for me when I heard about that. So the Night Witches came actually from there. I just it occurred to me just why don't we put like a K in night and then we leave the witches thing because it's super cool. And then we invented all these characters and lore that you can see in the game, with the group of night witches and how they fly around and help people. And yeah, that's where it comes from. Yeah, sure. That's where it comes from. Yeah.
I love that story, and I love how everything tied in together because, like, as you were explaining that, and as a person who's played the game, it matches. Like, you're absolutely like flying around, and a lot of your enemies, even though they know you're coming, you're still like flying around and taking them out. So I'm like, it's amazing how you use like that real life historical element to kind of like almost mirror what's going on in the game, so to speak. I love that. You know, this is the fourth game from your team. What lessons did you learn from creating the other games that kind of helped you with the development of the Night Witch?
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Oh, well, I think the biggest lesson we learned was to not overscope uh,
Hmm.
on this one because we made that mistake, in our previous games, especially with Rush and Shine, the one we made before Language, because we were scoped and we were a super small team. And it took us a while to actually make the game we made. And even we had to cut it short because, money was running out. And yeah, we had to finish it out and put it out there. And we didn't make that error, that mistake again with Nightwitch. We were pretty clear what we wanted to do. Hey, a dog. We were pretty clear. That's a cute one.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, we are planned as well as we could at the beginning of the Nightwitch development. So we wouldn't be, over scoping too much and, going out of budget. And it was something that we took very seriously, just to keep up with milestone with the publisher and don't over budget. And yeah, I think we made that happening. And the whole team didn't make any crunch at all, and nobody was super burned out at the end of development. And yeah, that's something we had with Rush and Shine, and we had to crunch a lot. And I was burnt out at the end of development. That was super bad. I don't recommend that to anyone at all. And we didn't want that to repeat. We didn't want to repeat that mistake again. So the best you can do against that is just planning out as good as you can. At the start of the project. Have like a proper production plan and have the story already written out. And yeah, let's do this number of levels and this number of enemies, this number of weapons and cards. So yeah, just plan as much as you can. That's the biggest lesson I learned with Nightwish for sure.
I like that. I like that. And I like how y'all adapted, and basically y'all learned and, kind of like planned ahead, so to speak, and learned, and you kind of learned how to kind of like plan better for the next game. So I know you're coming up with another game. That's going to be a lesson that you take and basically throw into the next game as well. I got to ask you though, like, how long did it take you to develop the Night Witch overall? Was it 3 or 4 years?
It was almost 3 years, to be honest. We made the demo that
Hmm.
the process is always the same for us. We made a demo out of pocket, and then we actually shop that demo around to publishers, and that's when if they like what they see, that's when they fund the whole game, the rest of the development. So we made a demo with we were like three people only, two artists and one programmer, and it took us like 8 months more or less to make that a playable demo of the game. And with that in hand, that's when we found a publisher, and with all the money they gave us, we actually hired the rest of the team. It was like a 6 person in the core of the team, and then some freelancers that made music for us, or sound effects or extra design and stuff like that, and QA. But yeah, it's pretty much so in total will be like 2 years for the whole development of the game with the
Hmm.
complete team, plus the 8 months of the demo. So yeah, 2 years and 8 months, almost 3 years, yeah, something like
Okay.
that.
Okay. And as far as development goes, that's kind of a shorter process. One of the things I'm curious about, is after the game was released, how'd you celebrate?
Well, yeah, being because we don't have an office, and that's
Hmm.
that's that's tricky to celebrate. You're not in the same place, and that was sad. But we made like a kind of a little party online, and we met. The whole team met later on
Hmm.
after a couple of weeks. After we released the game. So yeah, it was all good. It's always when you're a developer, the most exciting time is when you release a new game for sure. That's something you don't forget. It's just so marked in your calendar, your life. It's just there. It's the biggest day of the year. Even so. Yeah, it's always magical in some way. It's always something that you remember forever for sure.
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. Did you go out to eat? Did you have a drink or anything to celebrate the release of the game for you personally?
Of course, yeah. I went out with my partner in life and in
Uh-huh.
business. Mark is also the artist, one of the other artists in the game, who's in charge of the backgrounds. He's also my girlfriend for 22 years already. So yeah, we went out to celebrate all the way for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, you brought that up, and one of the things that really stood out to me is the art style. Like, this game is absolutely phenomenally gorgeous. I cannot commend you enough because it's vibrant with colors. There's truly different environments and almost like biomes that you kind of roam through. It's a Metrovania, but like you make each room so unique and so different. And I cannot commend you enough because like this game has personality, it has flair, and everything. It's eye candy. Like I play this game and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can't believe someone like created this. This looks like a storybook come to life, so to speak. Can you tell us a little bit about like what it was like to design these environments? Just surface level. You don't have to give all the trade secrets away.
Sure, sure. No, it's not a problem. We made some videos for Twitter and social networks explaining our process, so it's not a secret. It's all cool. Anyone that is listening to this and want to get into the development, if they want to check out our videos or making our videos, they are just there. Twitter account just to anyone to check out. And we share our process of making the backgrounds in the game and stuff. So yeah, it's all there. But background wise, as I told you before, Mar Hernandez was in charge of the backgrounds together with another artist called Jen Mahadi from Malaysia, fantastic artist too. But yeah, Mar is so good and so great, and what she does is incredible. And every single room that you visit in the game is made by hand. There is nothing procedurally generated or anything like that. It's every single asset in there you see is just placed by her, one by one. And you also get like different layers of parallax scrolling and stuff like that. It's just crazy. It took us a while to actually make each different biome in the game. It's been a work of love, and I think it shows. We didn't want to make something that looked too samey, even
Hmm.
when you were in the same kind of biome. I wanted to even when you are in the city at the beginning of the game. Uh, we wanted you as the player to be able to visit different places, like the clock tower, or the sunken ship room, or the big a big square in the town, and
Hmm.
and the ruins, and and the and the hut and the waterfalls. Each single room has its own personality because you want to get away from the samey look sometimes you get when you play like a procedurally generated backgrounds in another game. I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not I'm not saying I respect a lot the procedurally generated rooms in another game for sure. It's a lot of work anyways. I mean, it takes a lot of finesse to actually get that right. But yeah, when you want to get different personality out of each room you visit, that takes a while to make. That is it's a lot of work. And I think we actually get that right. I think it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. I think players when they play Nightwish, they get this impression that I'm looking kind of like a very organic city, a very
Hmm.
organic place where each room I visit is kind of a little bit different from the previous one, and that helps you also in gameplay wise to actually get oriented inside the dungeon, because oh yeah, here is the tower and here is the waterfall, so yeah, I know my way around this and where is what and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a lot of work, man. I can tell you that for sure. Yeah,
Well, the work paid
I'm
off.
yeah, I'm glad you say that. I'm super glad that you appreciate all the work that came into the game. Yeah, super glad you say that.
No, no, like it. I mean it. The work absolutely paid off because, like, my wife like walked by while I was playing this game, and she didn't know anything about it. She was just walking by. I think she had come back from walking our dog, and I was playing this in the living room. She walks by, she looks at the TV, and she just goes like, "Wow, that's absolutely gorgeous. That's beautiful. Like, what are you playing?" And so I'm like, I hit pause and everything like that, and I was just telling her a little bit about the game, and she was just like, go into that next room just to see what it looked like. And so I went in, and she was just like, everything looks good in this game. Like everything, she was just like, some games that you play, like I can tell, like where like some of it kind of has that samey vibe that we were talking about. Like this one, everything felt unique, and it just shows like the love and care that you put into like the environment shows because like I think that you do so many good things well in this game, but like the environments are one of those things to where I'm like, this is masterful. Like that's probably like the extreme calling card of this game because like I can show this to anyone and everyone right now, and whether or not they're into like this style of gameplay, they're all going to have an appreciation of this art style. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm super, super. I don't know, super happy to hear that, man, and super
Hmm.
proud that you're saying that to us. It's fantastic to hear that for sure. But to be honest, we put a lot of work into that
Hmm.
area, But some players, you probably know, some players are gonna be like passing like super fast and
Yeah.
traveling the dungeon super fast, and they won't care, what it looks like or anything like that. So I'm super glad when someone really appreciates the work that came in, it's super good to hear, man. So yeah, super. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Yeah,
a
for
lot.
sure, for sure. And you're right. There are going to be people who like speed run through all
Yeah,
this
man.
completely, but like they're
Yeah.
missing out because like this is a visual treat. So I gotta ask you though, another aspect that kind of really impressed me about the game is like the lore and the narrative about the game, the story that you're telling here. Seriously, it feels like this could be a book that I'd actually read. Like I'm big into fantasy books. This feels kind of like a sci-fi fantasy novel that I'd read. What was the writing process like, and what was it like creating a world like this?
No, yeah, I'm not the one who actually wrote the script. It was
Uh-huh.
Kevin, our lead designer, and I think he made a fantastic job, to be honest. I mean, he when we made the demo, when we were three people, Kevin was not in the team yet, and there were some concepts already there, and like the Night Witches were already there. The characters like the husband was already there. The same vibe with like a good, healthy relationship, which has been super funny to us because people ask me this question in other interviews, like, what was in your mind when you were creating like this character, the Rain character, with like a 30 something, 30 plus years old witch that's happily married,
Mhm.
and for me it's like, well, I wasn't thinking specifically in doing something like that, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna revolutionize the story of characters in games. For me, it wasn't anything out of normal, But funny enough, when people ask me about that, and yeah, this character stands out because that's something that you don't find, very often in games. A
Mhm.
character married with someone that is not killed, after the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, for sure. For
For
sure.
cheap drama, for cheap drama only. No, we didn't do that. No, we didn't want that. But yeah, the story was, I told you, the demo was already something, lots of elements were already there, like the witches, the husband, the kind of, it was a kind of darker tone in that what we had in the demo. And, but also, concepts like the ancient race that actually made the caves where Don Leonidas is in. And, lots of elements were already there. But it was, had to come, Kevin came into the team, and he took all these concepts that were like, all over the place, and he put them together and made the story that we all love, with lots of, gray tones. Nothing is black and white in the game, as you probably know already.
Hmm.
Good people is not as good as it seems, and bad people are not as bad as they seem either, and it's everything's kind of lots of grace in the story, and also, kind of with this kind of a eco message, like let's be like a planet friendly, because this is the only planet we have. But we don't want to be too preachy, which is something
Hmm.
that we know that we shouldn't be doing, when you play a game. Is we don't want to be too preachy, as because some people actually were like super against this story, because when they played the demo, at least that's the comments we got in the Steam forums. Some people were saying, "Oh yeah, this game is so preachy. Oh no, the story sucks." And we were like, "Yeah, but just wait to go into the game. To get into the game a bit more, because the story gets far more deep
Hmm.
as you advance into the game, and you're gonna see like big changes in a lot of characters." And so, yeah, but that's something they wanted to make from the beginning. It's like this kind of deep story, but at the same time, not so black and white. And I think we got everything we wanted into the game. So yeah, I recommend people just to try it out instead of you know, just sticking with the demo only, and think, oh yeah, this is too preachy and too shallow, or yeah, it's made on purpose because it's the prologue of the game, where exactly you think that it's bad versus evil and the prologue in the
Hmm.
demo, but yeah, once again, the game gets much deeper than that, for
Oh, it
sure.
really does. It really does. I Yeah, I think this game, like I don't know what your next project should be, but like my suggestion is like I would love to actually see y'all do like a actual book about the Night Witch, because I think y'all absolutely kill it with the story. I know the illustration would be on point with whatever book you came up with. I think it would be like a easily a must read book, but like that's a side project, of course. I mean, completely work on another game because I can't wait to play the next whatever y'all play, whatever y'all put out next. But
Cool.
I gotta say though, like the Night Witch, like one of the features of the Night Witch, you can use spell cards, and these spell cards give you like super abilities. How much fun was it to think of all those like abilities and deciding what special moves to put in the game?
Yeah, that was pretty fun to do, to be honest. We had like a shared document online where we actually wrote down any kind of crazy idea we had.
Hmm.
The whole team was writing ideas for new cars and stuff, and we had like a super long list. It was the longest list ever with crazy ideas about cars, and we actually got the ones that we thought they were working best with the gameplay we had, and
Hmm.
also with time constraints and budget, because we couldn't do. There was some crazy stuff like that. Like in there, like I don't know. I remember one that didn't make it into the game. Like, oh yeah, let's make like a you release like a 1,000 different like flying bugs that eat the enemies out,
Oh,
and
that'd
it's
be
like a
cool.
big swarm that travel with you, even to the next room and stuff like that. Lots of questions like that, but we couldn't put out everything that we had in that list, because then we wouldn't be able to finish the game.
Hmm.
Never. But yeah, I think that was it. That was super fun to actually have a lot of it. We got like lots of ideas there that actually if we make a language too, maybe there's some ideas there we could still use. We will see.
I like that. I like that. If y'all make a Night Witch 2, my suggestion, you can throw this into the suggestion box for the super abilities. Slow down time. I think the ability to slow down everything that's going on around you and to kind of like maneuver around like some of the bullets and stuff like that would be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That one is just so funny that you say that. That was presented in the original demo. That's one of we had like four cards in the original
Hmm.
demo only, And one of those four was the slow down time, like
Uh-huh.
bullet time, as we called it. And yeah, but we didn't make it into the game at the end because it was causing like lots of bugs and problems with the with the gameplay.
Oh
So we
no.
had to remove it. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It was like one of those things that we loved it at the time. We thought it was fantastic. It was great gameplay wise, but it was causing so many problems with bugs and such that we had to actually cut it from the game. And it makes me sad because it was my favorite one, to be honest. But
Oh man, I'm
yeah,
sorry to hear that.
that's game development for you. Yeah, that was sad news for me too, to be honest. Yeah.
No, no, man, just a suggestion. I liked it though. I mean, like so excited to see if y'all do make a sequel to the game. I'm so excited to see what new abilities y'all do come up with. I gotta ask you, for my next question for you though, what is your favorite overall feature about the game?
Ah, that's a good question. I got like two. I love the press releases
Hmm.
in the game. Yeah, people that don't haven't played the game yet, you probably will say press releases in Metroidvania. Yeah, it's something super crazy that we put in there at some point development. Uh,
It's funny
but
you
I don't
mentioned
want to
that because that
spoil.
was going to be my
Yeah,
next question for you. It's like I
right,
one of my favorite like features in the game is the press releases, the press conferences, so to
right. The
speak. And
conferences. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. So I'm like, how did you come up with that feature? Like, that's so cool.
Sure. Yeah, oh, so good to hear that you like that. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, that was something that wasn't in the original plan.
Hmm.
But when we had the idea, it came up like half development, and it was so cool. We thought it was so cool that we thought, yeah, we have to put this, surely we had to put this yes or yes, and yeah, we did. It was so funny. I remember when we had one of the production meetings with a publisher, with Team 17, and we were talking about what we did. We were making during the week with the other producer, with internal producer in Team 17. And we told him, oh yeah, and we had this idea about having a press release in the game, so you tell people what just happened in your mission, and you can actually lie or tell the truth, and that
Hmm.
affects your gameplay, but down the line, and uh, and he was like, oh, that sounds super cool, man. When are you gonna do that? And it was, yeah, it's implemented already. You can already try it because it was super easy to implement. It was something that was pretty. I mean, it was quite easy to implement versus other features that the game has, and it was so easy. I'm not saying super easy, but it was easier than other things that we had in the game. So we implemented it pretty fast, and we could try it like super fast. And he was already there in the game, and our producer couldn't believe it. He was like, "You already have that in game already working?" I was, "Yeah, it's already there. You can try it in the latest build." And for us, yeah, for me too, it was one of these super cool features the game has because it is kind of it breaks everything that you played before in the game,
Hmm.
like the side scrolling and killing enemies, and suddenly you're in like in a press release from TV. You are in front of the camera and you are kind of nervous and you have to explain public what just happened in your mission, and you can actually choose between options, and that affects the way characters talk in the game, depending on what you say in the presentation, and that changes down the line the gameplay too. And I'm gonna reveal how it does it, but yeah, I don't want to spoil anything to anyone. But yeah, it's such a cool feature. I like it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, for sure.
I absolutely adore it because, like, yeah, the fact that you can like gain some strength and abilities from like basically telling the kingdom what they want to hear versus like you can lie to them or and it comes back to bite you later on. So I'm like, there's so many cool things about that feature. I gotta
Yeah,
ask.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Also,
So.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I was gonna say is only that some people tell us, yeah, but maybe it doesn't have like this super weight into the gameplay of the story. But actually wanted you, the player, to feel that weight on your
Mhm.
shoulders. But anyone can, you can select randomly each option, and you get even more level up if you tell some lies to the public versus telling the truth. But it's how about you feel as a player,
Yeah.
pretty much. It's like, okay, what kind of person I am? I prefer to level up versus telling lies and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's more the weight is gonna be in your shoulders as a player, pretty much. Versus, it's not a huge, super huge effect at the end of the game or anything like that. It has some effect. It has some, characters talk you in different ways for you, stuff like that. But it's not super huge or anything. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a really cool feature, and I love that it has ramifications both in game and on you personally. Like because I'm like
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who I'm like, oh man, I want to be liked. So I'm like, the fact that it comes back to bite me later on, I'm like, I really have to think hard on whether or not I want that power now versus being
Sure, yeah.
liked overall. So I completely understand. I gotta ask you though, the combat in this game, one of my like takeaways from like playing this game and playing it to completion is like this was a challenging journey, man. Like I was dying like crazy. This game could be a little bit on the
Yeah.
challenging side. Was it always the intention to make it so challenging?
Oh my God. At the beginning, it wasn't. We wanted to, yeah, we wanted the game to be, yeah, a twin stick shooter, shoot them up, bullet hell,
Hmm.
but kind of in the more accessible kind of way, and kind
Hmm.
of, something like that. Not as difficult as it ended up being, but I don't know. We were taken away by the gameplay, and we started making levels and stuff. And Kevin, our lead designer, who was in charge of level design and
Hmm.
combat design, he made it that way. So, you want all the hateful emails, please send them to him. I'm not responsible.
No, Kevin did a
No,
fantastic job. But
yeah,
yeah, this game's got some
yeah,
bite to it. And I'm one of
yeah.
those people who like this isn't challenging in the sense to where like this is like a Souls game. This isn't like Bloodborne or Sekiro or like, Demon Souls challenging, but it is challenging in the same way of like a Rayman, so to speak, to where like if you make a mistake, you understand that it's your fault and you kind of can understand like, hey, I can do this a little bit differently now. But like it is challenging though. So I'm like, I commend you because like this game doesn't like take you by the hand and walk you through to the finish line. This game is like one of those to where like you're going to have to put some effort into it and learn how to get better, but it's not one of those things to where it just feels punishing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's not impossible
No,
by
for
any
sure
way,
not.
It's challenging for sure, but that's something that we wanted too, because we want people to actually, use the deck building part of
Hmm.
the game. Because if not, if it was too easy, you could actually, get around the game just shooting your little bullets and kill the enemies, and that would be it. And you wouldn't be able to use your cards at all. So we wanted the players to actually, rethink
Hmm.
when they were killed, just take a while and think, what did I do wrong? What could I be doing better? And because you actually start at one of these arcane beacons, you actually can change your deck in
Yeah.
the, and maybe rethink your strategy, because cards are really part of the strategy in combat, a huge part of the combat. They are not like glorified power-ups and that's it. They actually can help you a lot, in winning battles during the
Hmm.
whole game. And we want the people to actually use them, like, and rethink their deck all the time, not actually just, okay, I'm gonna do my super power deck and that will be it, and I won't be changing it for the rest of the game. No, we didn't want you to do that. We want you to actually, be changing your cards all the time, and that's why you actually get killed in the process. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's I think that's where the game actually shines the best,
Hmm.
in my opinion. When you get killed and you think, okay, I'm gonna rethink my deck, and then you actually overcome that challenge, up onto the next one, and that's where that's the dynamic we wanted to the game, and yeah, sorry, we had to make the game a little bit challenging, a bit difficult for
Hmm.
some people, but there are some accessibility options we put in there. I don't know if you use any of them, but for people that are having a really hard time with the game, there are some accessibility options that you can activate, like enemy slower than enemy bullets, or invulnerability, God mode, or enemy drop. When you kill an enemy, they drop a heart, energy heart for you, stuff like that that can make your experience more enjoyable, instead of getting frustrated all the time. So it's all there. But please don't. I don't want. Some people tell us, yeah, but that's just bad design. You put the accessibility options in there because your level design sucks. Not at all. I'm gonna explain why. It's like some people are just not as good as others playing twin stick shooters, or they don't
Hmm.
like to use. They are not able to use twin sticks all the time. One for moving, one for aiming, one for shooting is too much. So maybe they are not physically able to just use that many buttons. So why not making the game, more accessible for them to, so they can enjoy the experience? I remember, a reviewer, American reviewer for a website that she played the game and she got frustrated at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but then what she did was just activate the God mode, so she couldn't be killed at all. And then she played the whole game, and
Mm-hmm.
she enjoyed the story like a lot, and she enjoyed the whole experience a lot, and using the cards and talking to characters and exploring the dungeon. And he gave us like a 9.5 out of 10 at the end,
Mm-hmm.
So and she enjoyed the game anyways, and that's something that's fantastic for us to hear. There is no problem in using the accessibility options at all. Just use them, man. I mean, no one's gonna tell you anything about that. It's all good as long as you enjoy the experience. It's all great in our book. So just go and use them. But also, like I want to tell too that accessibility options are not named like that in the game. If you go to the menus, they are called what is called cheats, right?
Cheats, yeah. Uh-huh.
Cheats, and that's kind of that has like a kind of a negative connotation with gamers because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everyone has played their fair share of online shooters, and cheaters are not likable players at all.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was made on purpose because it has a so negative connotation that nobody wants to use them. Too early, at least. So we want you to, want the players to actually keep trying, keep going against the challenge, and ultimately just overcome it because they rethink, the way they use their cards or their decks or something before, resorting to, like the kind of the red button, the last resort, which is something
Yeah.
called cheats that
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of cheating. Yeah, I don't want to use that. Like I prefer to actually keep playing until I overcome the challenge. But it's all fine if you want to use them, of course. I mean, they are just there for that, for you to enjoy the game. Anyways. Regarding your experience or independently of your ability as a player. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And accessibility is something that's so important, especially in our society today. I really think that that's commendable that you added so many accessibility options in the game. So I gotta ask you, we were talking about Rain earlier, and I was talking about like how she is as a character. If you could meet Rain, if you can go out for like dinner and such like that, what would you say to Rain? What kind of conversation would y'all have?
That's a good one, man. Oh my God. Please, I will, maybe at first I will tell him, I'll tell her, sorry, thank you, because that's so important in the game,
Mhm.
saying thank you. And that was something that it came to mind now that, one of the biggest concepts when we started making this game was, this game is a product of the pandemic, the time
Mhm.
we were just, we were like inside the houses. We couldn't get out because the pandemic was going on, and for 3 months in Spain at least, we were just inside, waiting for things to happen. And while medical personnel, nurses and doctors were fighting the virus at the hospitals. Nobody knew what this virus was, and
Mhm.
how bad it was, and they were fighting it. And so, and in Spain at least, at 8 o'clock every day, everybody just came out in the balconies that we have. We have in Spain. We don't have these family houses. We are just big buildings with balconies.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
the outside. So at 8 o'clock in the afternoon, every day, people were getting out in the balconies
Mhm.
and started clapping like for 10 minutes straight, just for the medical personnel to actually, listen
Uh,
for, yeah, you're being, thanks for helping us, thanks for being there fighting this virus and nobody knows what it is
mhm.
at this moment of time. So that was fun. That was magical in my. That was something that had a huge effect on me. It was like, oh my God, people is getting out on the balcony every day. And I started clapping for a while and playing music. We were playing the same song. Pretty much, all balconies were playing like in a huge, at top of the volume, a song
Uh-huh.
that is called "I Will Survive." The
Yeah.
song. So everybody was playing "I Will Survive."
Uh-huh.
In the balconies and clapping. It was surreal. It was surreal at the time. But I love, I kind of, uh, I loved, how important was to say thank you at
Mhm.
that time. How important was to say thank you to people that were, sacrificing their lives for us because some people were even dying, medical personnel every day. And yeah, I wanted to make a game about that. I was saying thank you, or the importance of saying thank you to everybody, to people that deserve or acknowledgement, and that's why you level up with thank yous from people. As
Yeah.
the concept behind language is that is that one especially that you actually get better as being a language when people get behind you, when people appreciate what you're doing for them, and
Hmm.
they tell you thank you. That's super important. So that's what I would tell Rain. Coming back to the question, yeah, just thank you. I think.
I like that.
So
I like that.
yeah, so she will get more powerful. I to be more powerful.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. So, what do you think you and Rain would be eating?
Oh, well, I'm kind of I'm vegetarian
Okay.
most. It's yeah, probably. I don't know. I love Spanish tortilla, which is like
Hmm.
Spanish omelette. Sorry, not tortilla. Because in Spanish you call tortilla an omelette. Not
Hmm.
it's not like this flatbread. It's like an omelette. So I
Okay.
love potato omelette, which is a very Spanish dish with a little bit of onion. Probably that. I love that. It's the best food in the world. So that will be for me. I don't know about Rain, but that will be for me.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So my last question before we get to one of the most daunting challenges that anyone has ever experienced, and that's the Pro Nerd Trivia. My last question would be, what advice would you give to an indie team or a solo developer who's working on their first game?
Right. Yeah. I probably it will be the same. I tell everyone that that approaches me, or when I do like kind of a talk with any event or something like
Hmm.
that, which is something I told you before in an interview that was, don't overscope. If you are, that's super important, man, because everybody tends to, at the beginning, especially when they, start a team, start making things together. Everybody wants to make like a, yeah, let's make Gears of War 6 or World of Warcraft,
Hmm.
the next World of Warcraft, or the next Fortnite, and then that's too much, man. Yeah, just stop right there because it's your first game and you are too small of a team. So I will tell them, yeah, let's start making something small just to see how they work together because that's super important too. Get to know each other, get to know, the strongest points, uh,
Hmm.
and then, start from that and make something small, put it out there, and then think about making their next, biggest game out of that. But yeah, overscoping is one of the biggest killers in the industry, in the teams. That's is so underrated, and yeah, it should be out there in the top one of the things not to do. Don't overscope.
I
Yeah,
like it. I like it. So, be realistic, don't overscope. I like that.
yeah, yeah.
So, I have one last question for you, Enrique, and before we move on to our next segment, and that question is, are you ready? I
I
asked this
I,
because
I think I think I am.
I asked this is because you are now about to play the Pro Nerd Trivia, which is our portion of the show where I ask you 5 questions from 5 different types of nerdy categories. I have here with me the Wheel of Destiny. The Wheel of Destiny is spun, and whatever topic it lands on is where your question will originate from. You
Oh
will
my
get
God.
5 questions, and if you get all 5 questions right, you will earn the title of Pro Nerd. So far, the record states that only one person has answered all 5 questions. So, will you join them in the Hall of Fame? Let's find out. Enrique.
Oh my God, I'm scared now, man. I hope you don't cancel my game development license, right? Yeah, please
No,
don't
no,
cancel it.
no, 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 no. I want you to get loose, have fun, and everything's gonna be okay. This is gonna be a hard challenge. Don't get me wrong, but everything is going to be okay. And push come to shove, maybe you'll learn some trivia topics that you didn't know before. So everything's gonna be okay. We got this. I have faith in you. Everything is going to be fine. So Enrique, for your first question, we're spinning the wheel and it has landed on video games.
All
Video
right.
games. All right. How confident are you in this question, like in this category?
Oh my God, I think again, it's probably the most confident category I can think of for
Okay.
myself. So yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go for it. I'm ready.
All right. This character is known for wearing red, having a big mustache, and is a large, portly man. I am the villain of Sonic the Hedgehog. What is my name?
Is that Dr. Eggman?
You got it correct. You got the first one correct.
Oh,
It is Dr. Eggman.
oh my God. Oh my God. Fantastic.
Yeah. So
Very well.
you got the first one correct. So now the pregame jitters are a little bit off. You feel a little more confident about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. I like it. I like it. All right. So our second category is in the world of Pixar.
All
Pixar
right.
is the second one. In the movie The Incredibles, what is Elastigirl's civilian name, her real name?
Oh man. I don't know that one. You got me there. You got me
Yeah.
there. I'm really a big fan of the movie, but I
Mhm.
think not as big as I thought. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. The Elastigirl's real name, just for your knowledge, is Helen Parr. Is her first and last name.
Exactly.
Helen Parr.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Did you
Man,
enjoy?
that was tricky. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like
Yeah.
the movie The Incredibles?
Oh, no, it's awesome. Yeah. I watched it like several times already. I'm a big fan of the director, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's a fantastic one. But this question, oh my God, that was like the difficulty curve compared to the first one. It was like, yeah, it is. Oh my God, it's like straight line.
Yeah, it did get a little harder. It did get a
Yeah.
little harder. You know, like when the Wheel of Destiny lands on a category, it sort of like chooses a random like question from that category, and so some reason like some of the scale of the questions go like all over the place. So some of them may be like easier, and then some of them may be like, oh wow, I'm gonna probably need an encyclopedia to find that answer. So it's all over the place. Bear with me here. Now,
Oh,
your second category is in the world of Disney. Are you pretty familiar with Disney movies?
kind of, yeah, for sure.
Okay. What is the name of the old turtle who sounds like a surfer in the movie Finding Nemo?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, man. You get me on character names. Oh, man. No, no idea. No idea whatsoever. I like the movie. I love the movie, but yeah, no idea. That's a bit too much.
Do you remember that part in Finding Nemo where there was like a big sea turtle and they were
Yeah,
riding like
yeah,
the little circular part, and he was going
yeah.
righteous.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. The
yeah,
name
absolutely.
the name of the character is Crush.
Oh my God. All right. No idea. No
Crush
idea.
the
I have no
turtle.
idea. All right.
All
Really.
right. So far you got one right, two wrong, but you're moving along. You're moving along pretty well. Our next category is in the world of the X-Men. Are you pretty familiar with X-Men?
I have been comic reader for years and years. So yeah, let's see. Let's see what you
Okay.
ask.
Okay.
Let's
So
see.
you name this X-Men. This X-Men stores solar energy in his eyes and uses it to discharge powerful laser beams from his eyes. Who am I?
There's Cyclops for you. Yeah.
Okay, he got it. He got it.
Uh, yeah.
So you
That
got
wasn't that bad.
no, it wasn't that bad. So you got two wrong, two right. You have the opportunity to go over 500 here with the last question. The last question is you have a choice between category A or category B. I'm not going to tell you which categories they are, but you have a choice between A or B. Which one do you want to go with?
Let's go for E because it's my Enrique is my name. So yeah, let's go for E. Yeah.
All right, all right. So you got the category of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
Are you familiar with Marvel?
I am. Yeah, I am for sure.
Okay, I got you. In Marvel, what is Captain America's shield made out of?
Vibranium?
Vibranium is correct. Yeah,
Oh,
vibranium is
yeah, there you
correct.
go.
So Enrique, you got three right, two wrong. You had a very strong showing. You know, like I feel like you did a pretty good job. How do you feel about your performance today?
I feel super bad, man. But yeah, thanks. Oh man, those character name questions, they were nasty. Oh
They
man.
were.
Yeah. Oh my
They,
God. No, but yeah, I just realized that maybe I'm more proficient in in comic universe
mhm.
than actually on movies and stuff like that. So yeah, on video games even. So yeah.
I got you. Out of curiosity, would you like to see what the other question was going to be if you chose the other one direction?
Yeah. Shoot,
All
shoot,
right.
shoot
The
me.
other
Yeah.
one was in the realm of Nintendo.
All right.
So Nintendo, like, all right. So this question I think is a pretty hard one myself, but you might be able to get this one correct. In 1981, a game was developed by Miyamoto. It was one of the first video games that allowed the player to jump. Can you name that game?
Oh wow, that's probably Donkey Kong,
You would have
maybe.
got it right. That is
Oh
Donkey
yeah,
Kong. That
there
is
you go.
Donkey
Yeah.
Kong.
Yes.
I'm impressed. That one was I felt like that was a deep cut, and I feel like you absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, but it didn't count. That didn't count. Oh man.
Yeah, if that would have counted, you would have got 4 easily. But like as it stands, you got 3 right, 2 wrong. But I feel like you did a really good job, and especially with that Donkey Kong question, I'm very impressed.
All right. Yeah, people probably will say Mario straight away, Super Mario Bros, something like that. But yeah, no, yeah, Donkey Kong was first for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I like how your video game knowledge is on point. You had a little bit of weakness naming characters' names, but like as far as like superhero references and everything like that,
Yeah.
chef's kiss, absolutely good.
Uh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've been a comic reader for like since I was a kid. So yeah, there you go. I guess it pays off.
It
Just for
does.
this moment. Reading in comics for 40 years, just for this moment
It led
right
up to
now.
this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
So,
worth it.
absolutely, absolutely. So Enrique, you did an excellent job. Before we go though, I have one last question for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So my last question for you is probably the easiest question you'll have throughout the whole episode, and that's where can the good people find you?
When they find them, well, find me. Well, I'm not very active on social networks, to be honest, because I'm the one in charge of social networks for team.
Uh-huh.
So they kind of can find me in Super Mega Team,
Mm-hmm.
the account we have on Twitter, which is probably the one that we update the most. I'm the one behind it, so you can ask me anything to to the Twitter account, even to private messages. I'm there for you. Anything you want to ask, I can help with because I love to help other indie teams. If we have anything we can help them with. So feel free. I'm the one in Twitter for you. So yeah.
All right, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, go check him out at the Super Mega Team at Twitter. He will be right there to answer all your questions. But that is all the time we have today, Enrique. Before we go, though, I really want to say thank you so much for being on the show. You were absolutely magnificent. I loved having you on as a guest. Anytime you want to come on the show, just hit your boy up. You're a pro nerd fam now, so come on the show. We'll talk. We'll nerd out. You can answer some more trivia questions, or we can just talk about all kinds of nerdy things. You are more than welcome anytime you're available.
So thanks a lot, man, for the chance to, for the invite, and for being able to chat with you for a while. It was super fun. I had a great time, and you got a big fan of your podcast from now on. I told you before we started that it's like when you discover like a new band that you love, and you realize that there's like 5 albums they put out in the past. So it's the same with me and your podcast, man. And you're gonna be listening to all your interviews and your programs and your podcast from now on. So thanks a lot for the invite. Thanks, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, you can find him at, Super Mega Team at Twitter, but you can also find the Night Witch at all your favorite gaming systems. This game is available on Nintendo Switch. This game is available on PS5, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and it's available on the Xbox Series X and S. So pretty much everywhere you like gaming, this game's available, and I can attest to this personally. I love this game. This game's absolutely amazing. Super Mega Team, y'all absolutely killed it with this one. I can't wait to see what y'all do in the future. Everyone, go check this game out. If anything, listen to your boy, check this game out. You will definitely not regret it. The art style alone is just eye candy.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. That's candy for my ears, actually. Yeah, thanks a lot. For all the praise. I love that you love the game. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So everyone, that's a wrap for today's episode. Enrique, we will see you next time. Peace.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Also, for more videos just like this one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right here. Thanks again for watching the video, and for more like it, stay right here at the Pro Nerd Report channel. So that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. I also want to let you know about the Single Player Experience Discord server. It's a perfect place for single player gamers to talk about the good single player games that they've been playing lately and to get video game recommendations. Think of it kind of like a book club for single player gamers. The link to join will be in the description. Once you're in, feel free to share your video game backlog list, talk about the good single player games you've been playing, or give your feedback on the show. If you have a game you think it should be recommended and should be reviewed, let me know about it right there. Before we go, I just want to thank you once again for listening to today's episode. Stay safe, stay gaming, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.